Hello, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube. Okay, let's face it, creepy old guys that like Tweed amps and Telecasters are people born or reincarnated in the wrong time. This is a bunch of giblets from YouTube and a cabinet from a Reverb Mate 40 Traynor amplifier. This is a roll of Tweed Tolex, some oxblood grill cloth, and a 1966 Akai 15-watt Alnico speaker. In this video, we're gonna turn all this stuff into a slightly souped up Tweed Champ clone. If that sounds like something you might be interested in, stay tuned. So, the first thing to do is to get everything out on the workbench and check the values of all components. Then, using this improved schematic from Rob Robinette's website, I placed all the components. Then pushback cloth wiring. Then soldered it, as you see here. Then you end up with something that looks just about like this. Notice the thick copper wire used as a ground plane, which is an idea I got from Daytona Dave of Boot Hill Amplifiers. Then, due to lack of self-confidence and paranoia over my soldering skills, I hooked up an oscilloscope to see if I was passing a signal through the input stages using this small synthesizer as a frequency generator. This is when I noticed I had made a faux pas of sorts. The output transformer that I had ordered from China was 4 ohms and my speaker was 8 ohms. I just saw this as an opportunity for upgrade and ordered the appropriate transformer from Classic Tone. Upon receiving said transformer, I placed all the components inside the chassis and soldered according to the schematic. So now it was time for initial startup and testing with these cheap Chinese tubes I had ordered. Well, I noticed that the rectifier tube had the B plus up around 400, and as a result of that, or maybe as a result of poor manufacturing, the 6L6 decided to throw some blue fire and lightning around inside of it. So I ultimately ended up purchasing a full set of JJ tubes with a low noise and high gain preamp tube from Tube Depot. After installing those tubes, everything was A-OK. B plus was 360, amp was quiet, everything worked perfectly. I have to give a special thanks to the guys over at the Telecaster discussion page for helping me get all that sorted when I seen that blue fire inside the tube. That was a new one on me. So then it was time to disassemble that amplifier cabinet. And using an awesome guitar book that my friend Gary gave me as a spacer, I figured out my speaker and amplifier placement. I found quickly that due to interference, it would have to be an offset design. Then I went ahead and removed all the vinyl from the cabinet. Then, using some plywood reclaimed from the cabinets of a house built in 1967, I cut out a baffle and the back doors. I then marked the baffle using a homemade compass. Then, using a jigsaw, I cut the hole out for the speaker in the baffle, as well as the amplifier control cavity. Then, after the first time I ever used a router in my life, it looked something like this. Now time for some putty. I did the baffle and then skim coated the entire amplifier cabinet. And while that was drying out in the hot sun, I sanded and painted the baffle black. While the baffle was drying, I switched my attention to sanding the cabinet, and when it was done, I put a shot coat of black paint inside of it. And here I'm using a hair dryer to limber up the stiff grill cloth. A T50 stapler was used to attach it to the baffle. It was reheated frequently to keep it limber, and then a hammer was used to really secure those staples. This is the result. Then a little sticker and some test fitting. I think it looks rather snazzy, so now it was back outside with the cabinet, and contact cement is being applied to the cabinet and let to dry till almost not tacky. And here's the first piece of Tweed Tolex being rolled on. And now the last piece. A 5-in-1 scraper is a good thing to use to make sure it really gets stuck down in the corners. And now the cut in of the control cavity. And then the fold over, which was supplemented by a few staples. And with the amplifier recovered, it's time for assembly. First the handle, then the corners, some plywood shims were used to make sure that the speaker baffle was in the correct position. Then it was screwed into place vigorously and checked for proper alignment. I had my wife help me install the amplifier. Then the back doors were put on. Then it was time for feet. And this is the result. And now for a sound test. that just about does it for this video. We turn this stuff and this stuff into this thing. If you found this educational or entertaining in any way, please give it a like and maybe subscribe. Till next time!